It's your boy Chad Ride. We back, baby. Hey, welcome back to the #iAMWHOiAM podcast. This is episode 65, man. It's 65. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play in the background. That way, I'm advertising while we working. You see what I'm saying? Um, so I'm subscribed to this podcast. Uh, what do you call that? What do you call Facebook? Like the podcast? Is that a friendship? What is that?
Yeah, I would say friendship.
Yeah, podcast friendship group. You know what I'm saying? And we all share our podcast, and we all share activity going on. We all trying to do the same thing, achieve a goal to make money off making podcasts. And a link I saw, it pops up, and I'm gonna shout him out by name. So I'm gonna log into my phone and I'm gonna shout him out by name. Uh, George. Not sure that you know George, right?
Mm-hmm.
So George said, "Hey, does anybody need a guest on their podcast?" And I said, "Man, I always need guests, especially people that's bringing something to the table, that is bringing experience, that is bringing something new and innovative to the channel." And man, George, he said, "Yeah, yeah," and then he introduced me to you.
How's it going? Happy to be here.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, like I said, this is episode 65, and I don't like to introduce my guests, man. I like them to introduce themselves. So, if you could introduce yourself to the people, please.
Sweet. Yeah. My name is Jeff Peruta. I'm 23 years old. Born and raised in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii, out there in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, basically kind of just went to San Diego State University, recently graduated. I was kind of doing a little bit of a side hobby for the past, few years, which is SEO. Right when I graduated, kind of graduated at a tough time during the entire COVID pandemic. I was actually trying to start a little business out in college, and that kind of went south. So, I was kind of in this mad little rush to start, something just because I didn't want to work for anyone. So I kind of just started with this idea of, this little marketing agency. Started, playing around with it a little bit, talking to people, getting clients and so forth, and kind of scaled it up a little bit. And now it's kind of my main source of income, and kind of growing with it and doing not too bad.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, talk to me about being 23 these days. Because when I was 23, we wasn't thinking about entrepreneurship at all.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, right now this is my third business.
Wow. So hold on. Let's start over. Let's start. Maybe I asked the question wrong. So your third business. So before San Diego State, you must have had visions of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I would say it actually happened probably my junior year.
Wow. Talk to me about that, man, because I got my kids watching, man. My kids is watching, man. They need to hear this.
Yeah, so I mean, junior year, I would say kind of my freshman, sophomore year, I was kind of, my head wasn't really in the right place. I was at San Diego State, kind of just, seeing the scene a little bit, having some fun, meeting a lot of people. And then, I think junior year is kind of one of those years, especially, any college student can relate. That's when you really kind of, figure out what your purpose is, why you're there for. School starts to get a little bit serious. You really start to kind of focus on your craft and think about, what you're going to do in 2 years. So I think, during that time, what also happened was a lot of my friends went abroad, and I decided to stay in San Diego. So I didn't really have kind of that outlet, I guess. So I really decided, hey, I'm going to get serious about school. And that kind of led me to this one resource that we had at school, which was, it was called the Zip Launchpad. It was a business incubator, which if you're not familiar with, it's basically just a collective group of, really successful people in all these different domains that kind of just come together and help people, make their ideas a reality. So I joined that, and that kind of, I guess gave me that fire, that, I guess, competitive edge to really start something and, run with it. So that's where I had my first business idea. It was this company called Fit, FYT. Um,
FYT.
FYT. It was pretty cool. Basically, what we were doing is it was an iPhone app. It was really similar to Tinder for clothes. And basically, what it was is it was this gamified way of shopping where you swipe on clothes that you like and swipe on clothes that you don't like. But we had this machine learning algorithm that basically, understood the swiping. Basically we gave all these attributes to clothes. Like, we said, hey, this piece of clothes, it's pink, it's black, it's striped. Maybe the logo is, a little bit to the left on the chest or something like that. And basically every time someone swiped yes, they would say yes to all those attributes essentially. And basically, eventually, it would create this personalized shopping experience. But what we were also doing on the back end is gathering all this data, so that you could say, "Hey, Jeff, who's 23, likes, shirts that go below the knees or something like that." So we were basically
Wow.
capturing all this fashion data. And that was kind of the business that we're in, and that's what I was, really set on doing.
Man, that's so where I'm from, we're searching for that. For
Mm-hmm.
someone that understands that type of technology and understands that type of development and understands like, hey, we got to get to work. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so talk to me about your three businesses, if you don't mind. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that gave me what I wanted. So talk to me about these three businesses, man, because I'm
Yeah,
I'm, I'm over here smiling, ladies and gentlemen. Like
yeah.
this is mind blowing to me, man.
Yeah, so that one business, the iPhone app, we got pretty far along. We pretty much launched the app, but we launched it during the height of the COVID pandemic, and it
Wow.
was definitely a weird time because all the brick and mortars were saying, "Hey, let's switch to e-commerce," and people were also saying, "Stuff's shutting down. We don't have as much money to spend." So it was just the worst time to launch something like that. Um,
So this is
and also,
2020 then.
this is 2020. We're also seniors in college. So we're also, in my head, I'm like, hey, we're graduating. This is going to be my full time job. Whereas everyone else, I'm kind of just like, you know, they're like, yeah, I want to do this. But at the same time, if a company tells me, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money, you're not going to say no, you
Right,
know?
right, right.
So it was a weird time. And I think that summer I was kind of, set on, hey, what do I do now that this company's kind of, going south?
Right,
What
right.
should I focus all my attention on? And I was looking for jobs and looking for jobs, and I was, trying out all these different business models, and I tried Amazon drop shipping, and it was kind of cool. And I was like, hey, wow, that's interesting. There's a real market for how much people are buying on Amazon. 51% of all e-commerce purchases happen on Amazon. I was doing
Wow.
Amazon drop shipping for a little bit, and it was cool, made some money, but I realized that it wasn't sustainable.
Wow.
So then I found the business model of Amazon FBA. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not. I was familiar with up until that. Like I started my own Amazon store and it wasn't successful.
Uh,
Like it felt like I was sending more in shipping than I was getting the money for the product. So I was like barely making even or breaking even, but making a couple of dollars. Like I was like nominal level. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I was doing that for a little bit, and I was kind of like, hey, it's a lot of work. There's definitely some money, but it's not sustainable. I could see myself burning out eventually with this.
Right, right.
Um, but then I discovered Amazon FBA, which is a really cool business model. It's basically you do a lot of upfront research to find a product that has a market that's not that competitive. So it's this really big research aspect. And then basically what you do is you go on Alibaba and you find a supplier. You
Alibaba, man. Alibaba was kind of tough for me, man. But go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you go on Alibaba, you find some suppliers, you vet out different suppliers, you get some samples, make some alterations, make some changes to the product, um, and basically it's kind of this 6 month process. You get professional photos taken, you get your packaging done, you start a company, you trademark that company. It's a full blown business that you're having to do, and then basically you get all this product, and you basically send it to Amazon. Amazon stores it in their fulfillment centers, and they basically do everything besides marketing. So essentially, all I'm pretty much doing is just kind of marketing it and collecting the money, which is awesome.
So that is so dope. But
hmm
talk to me about the marketing, because here at the hashtag I Am Who I Am podcast, that's where we struggle with the marketing. Like, it seems like the only people I can target are people that I know. And
hmm
I feel like I'm producing really good content because I went to film school.
hmm
And at film school, I learned how to develop great stuff for the eye. So I feel like that's not the problem. But the only people that are seeing me are people that I know. So talk
hmm
to me about the marketing aspect, because that's intense, because that's the biggest part. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think marketing is definitely the biggest part. Yeah, I would say marketing is definitely has the biggest learning curve. Um, Marketing on Amazon is definitely really interesting because they have a pay-per-click model, meaning that you basically pay every time someone clicks.
Oh
Um,
wow, I didn't
but
know that.
the real magic with that is the keywords that you choose. This is where that overlap kind of happens when with SEO. SEO is all about keywords and choosing the right verbiage and so forth. So it's very, very similar to exactly what you're doing on Amazon. Is let's say we're going after a specific keyword or key phrase. We're using specific tools to kind of map out the competition, see if there's any kind of opportunity, kind of get a roadmap of how we're going to get there, and then basically use this pay-per-click, advertising as sort of kind of a testing
Wow.
the market, seeing the data, crunching the data, and basically, creating hypotheses and seeing if they play out. So
What?
it's
Well,
fun.
well, I get it. I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So I guess my question is SEOs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm running into problems, because like it feels like what does it stand for? Standard.
Search engine optimization.
Okay, so you already ahead of me. You light years ahead of me. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? I'm from Tennessee, so that's where I'm running into problems, because I can't get around the crowd that I know. So I can't pop up in the search engines. So talk to me a little bit about like how all that transitioned into you getting, because that's what you do now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So talk to me kind of about like how that turned into that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So basically, these two companies they started almost simultaneously. So I started the Amazon product, and while I was starting that, I was kind of like, hey, this is cool, but it's not something that's money now, which is something that all the businesses have in common. My first
Yeah.
business, it was kind of like I'm starting this company, maybe we're going to get funded, maybe not, then I'll have some money, but I needed something that I could work and get paid immediately for like an hourly rate or however that may
Hold on one
be.
second. That's my dog Mako. He likes to make appearances. Sorry about that.
um, yeah, so basically, I was working at this marketing agency back in the day, and I was kind of learning about SEO very, very,
So
briefly.
was this right out of college that you did that, or?
Was right out of college.
Okay, okay, okay,
So we've been around for about a year now,
okay.
uh, and right out of college, I said, hey, I'm going to double down on SEO. I've always kind of had an interest in it, and what I did was I went to Udemy.com, which if you don't know, it's basically kind of like a learning platform where you could buy these online
Hold
courses.
on. Say that again. What.com?
Udemy, it's like
Udemy. How you spell it?
UDEMY.com.
Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
cool. Basically, you could buy these full-blown 8-hour courses on anything you could think of.
Really? Do
Um,
they got like Photoshop
oh
and
yeah, oh
oh
yeah.
okay.
By like yeah, and you'll take it by like a Stanford teacher or like something like they have like
Wow.
desk to the desk. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely awesome place to learn. So I would say a lot of the money that I make now I reinvest back into other courses or learning new things just because I want to be kind of a versatile tool.
Right,
But
right.
basically, yeah, I just took a course on there and kind of learned everything about SEO and I took it to this platform called Upwork, which is really, have you heard of Upwork?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I think Upwork is the coolest thing ever. So it's basically it's a freelancer hub. It's basically where companies, instead of hiring payroll employees,
Uh-huh.
they use services like Upwork to just post project-based jobs. Like
Okay.
let's say, hey, we need this done, and basically just hire independent contractors to do short work.
Okay. Okay.
So I kind of just went on there, started taking a bunch of gigs, and then realized, hey, I could do something with this. I'm, seeing all these results. I could definitely start something.
Right, right. That's
Yeah.
what's up, man.
That's
That's what's up. So this is the question I have. This is a question just from me.
Mhm.
So like when I'm tagging YouTube videos or when I'm tagging Facebook content or when I'm tagging my podcast, how does the search in the SEO work for that? And you ain't got to get too in depth, but we can talk about that off the air. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I'm just curious because like I'm not popping up in any search engines right now,
Mhm.
except for the direct name of the podcast or my name.
Mhm. That's a really good question. So to answer that, it basically boils down to this is kind of philosophical way that I look at SEO and I guess the websites overall. So websites out there, they kind of just serve one purpose in my eyes,
Okay.
and that's basically to rank for specific keywords. It's a really weird way of looking at the internet, but basically, every website, every web page, is specifically and should be specifically optimized for one specific keyword, one specific key phrase. And basically, if you're not currently optimizing for any keywords or key phrases, that's something that I would definitely start doing immediately, just because that's kind of how you
Well,
get
we'll
found.
talk off air. We'll talk about it. We ain't got to
We'll
talk about
talk
that no
off
more.
air
Yeah,
about
we'll
it.
talk.
But
Yeah, we'll talk about that off
um,
air. We'll talk about
yeah,
that off air.
basically, what my job is day to day is kind of just looking at tools and analyzing, how these keywords or key phrases, how they're doing, how many people search for them, how competitive is
Give
it.
me 1 second, man. Let me shut these dogs up. So with dealing with SEOs and going out on your own, um, I know, like from talking to you, like you had to go back to the corporate world or not working for yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, I've kind of just been working for myself.
Oh, so you're working for yourself now?
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm
Okay.
working for myself. Basically, the way that it works is kind of I have this little marketing agency, um, and we kind of just work small projects for other businesses. So they'll kind of
Gotcha,
contact
gotcha.
us.
So have you ever had to work the whole corporate thing, the whole 9 to 5, 8 to 10, 10 to 2?
Nope. And that I
My
want to leave
man.
it that way. That's my goal is never to. I never want to hop in that.
Man,
Um,
don't do it. It's so
yeah.
it makes you feel like smaller than that. Like I can't even make how small it makes you feel you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes you feel so small. So don't ever go that route. So let's get off of that. So I heard you do like skydiving.
Yeah.
So I had another guest on the show that did skydiving. He said he used to pack the chutes. And he said like he could pack the chutes in like 3 or 4 minutes. And I was like, man, like take the whole hour, take whatever I'm paying for, take the whole time. Like I do not need you to rush on that.
Yeah. So that's kind of my hobby that I'm starting off with right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of like a skydiver in training.
Okay.
But
Man, take your time with them parachutes, man. That's what I'm gonna say. Take
exactly.
your
I don't
time, man.
know. Definitely not gonna rush it, and I don't know if definitely not gonna be packing my own shoots anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
Nah, don't do that, man. Don't do that, man. So how's California? Like I know y'all shut down everything with the pandemic, with the coronavirus and stuff. So talk to me about California because like here in Tennessee, it's a little different. Like we're kind of like some people is like yeah, some people is like nah, but most people is like we out in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
kind of talk to
Yeah,
me
I
about the
mean,
climate out there.
I would say California is definitely very shut down still, and it's probably going to be the last state to open.
Wow.
But they have been recently, slowly opening things back up. I know down here in San Diego, especially, it's a little bit more lenient than Los Angeles. Every now and then I'll go down to Los Angeles and it's just ghost town.
Wow.
Everything's closed. Whereas San Diego, it's things are sort of slowly opening back up, which is nice. But I was back home in Hawaii, um, probably like 4 months ago during the height of the pandemic. I was kind of living out in Hawaii for a couple months, and it was way worse than anything I've seen in California.
Really?
It was more of you know, if you were walking on the street without a mask, you would face up to a $2,000 fine and up to a year in jail. So it was really bad.
Wow.
hmm
Well, that's crazy. So I do got a question, man. This is a question just for me, man. So talk to me about Hawaii, man. Honolulu.
hmm
Talk to me about that, man. I've never been, man. How is it black sand? Is that real?
So they don't have black sand on Oahu. They have black sand on the Big Island.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, no, it's beautiful. I would definitely recommend paying a visit out there. I try to go back at least every couple months just
Okay.
because
So
growing
even
up
from
there.
California, you trying to get back to Honolulu or Hawaii?
Oh yeah, I think Hawaii is special. Because California, don't get me wrong, California has cool beaches, but when you're putting on a wetsuit and you're freezing in the water and there's kelp everywhere, makes me miss home. Because
Yeah.
home is you're in your board shorts, the water's warm, there's no kelp, water's a little bit cleaner, you can see all the way to the bottom, so
Um,
it's
so it's
yeah.
like see through. It's like you ever been to Tampa? Like what's the name of that beach, man? You can see through it to the floor. It's Saint Pete.
I know exactly what beach you're talking about.
You
I
do.
haven't been, but I have seen pictures, and yeah, I would say it's
That's similar.
just as clear, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
Cool, 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 cool. So, what kind of music you listen to?
I mean, I listen to listen to a little bit of everything. I would say definitely being from Hawaii, I listen to a lot of reggae music.
Really? So, like
hmm
Bob?
I love Bob. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Can't go wrong.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up. So, so I guess my question is this: if you could tell somebody in school right now, like if you could tell a college student or even a grown man, um, what to do to prepare themselves to jump off the ledge. And by jumping off the ledge, I simply mean just doing your passion because it sounds like to me that you got it figured out and that you got it together, meaning that you're not going to is it fold or I don't know what the word is exactly, but you're not going to do that. You're not going to do the traditional route. And
hmm
and that's where I'm from in Tennessee. That's the only route, the traditional route.
hmm
And it's scary because the traditional route is turned into a prison. Like
hmm
I feel like I'm in prison. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Because I'm taking a traditional route. So this podcast is strictly to get outside of that box. So like it
hmm
sounds like to me you came out the gates with it. Like as a 17, 16-year-old kid, you
hmm
came out the gates running. So if you could give any advice to someone that might hear this podcast, man, please give it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say save money for the leap, make a solid plan, and
Okay, so let me stop you there. So
mhm.
How does a 16-year-old kid save money to take the leap?
I mean, I would say, you know, this is biased because this is exactly how I did it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, 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 yeah. That's all. I want
I
to
would
know
say
what you.
Upwork. I would say go on Upwork. I mean, this is the exact model that I did: is find a niche. My niche was SEO. You could do social media marketing. You could do copywriting. You could do photography, videography, anything. You know, any niche, anything that you kind of have somewhat of a passion about, um, and become the master at it, and then basically carve a basic roadmap, um, save enough money to allow yourself to take that leap. So basically, what I did at least was, I started doing that Upwork. I started making a little bit of money, enough to pay rent, and food and so forth. And then basically just took the leap and said, hey, I'm gonna, now work hard to master this. And basically, once you kind of do that, what you'll realize is you'll fall on your face 1,000 times. But I think, for me as a business owner, at least, um, I would say most of my money every month is not wasted. That's wasted is
What?
really bad.
Yeah, talk to me about wasting money too. They like to hear
So
about that too.
most of my money that I spend is, a lot of people would say it's wasting, but typically, like, my philosophy is I want to try a bunch of different ways to, you know, at the end of the day, the goal is to get a new client, and I'm gonna try 1,000 different ways to get a new client, and most of them are gonna fail, and that's cool because you learn from failure.
Yes,
But
sir.
if you have money to keep trying and trying and trying all these different things,
Yeah, yeah.
and if you find one thing that kind of works a little bit and double down on that, that's a success. So, it's just about, you know, going through the motions and trying to find those.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to me because I preach that on the podcast. Like, you got to get started, and you
Hmm.
gotta you gotta you said find your passion, find what you're passionate about, because that's what's going to keep you going, right? And I mean, you said exactly what I'm preaching as an old man. You a young cat in the game. I've been in the game for a minute, and I've heard the preacher preach. I've heard my mama tell me. I've heard my grandparents tell me. I've heard my boss man tell me, like, work the. But that's not the only route. Because I'm talking to
Hmm.
you. You've never worked for anybody. So it's really good to hear that, and I think people need to hear that because a lot of times what happens is we get out here and it's time to perform and we get nervous, we get scared, we feel like the parachute won't open, and it's scary, especially for somebody like me with a family with kids. It's like, okay, so if I jump off this ledge, is it going to open up? But I think what I'm learning is, especially with this podcast, is if it's something that you're passionate about, because that's what you hinted. If it's something you're passionate about, it's gonna work. It's gonna open because it has to, because you love it. And if you do it all the time and you get better every day, it's not gonna be the greatest at the beginning. Were you the best SEO person in the beginning?
Mm-mm. Definitely not.
Yeah. So you get better as you climb, as you do
Hmm.
it. So that's the best advice I've heard in a long time, because you found a niche, you practiced while it was free, and then you took it and you had enough money to pay the rent,
Hmm.
and then you took it from there. So that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So besides skydiving, man, what else you into, man?
What else am I into? Well, I really love body surfing. I love the ocean.
Yeah, I heard you mention
Um,
surfing.
back in Hawaii, my sports were swimming and water polo and canoe paddling. So
Okay.
I love the ocean. Um, San Diego, I don't, get to go out as much, but body surfing is probably, one of my biggest hobbies, and
Thanks.
I'm just being out there. I would say it's really, meditative and really good for the mind.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well,
Hmm.
I ain't gonna hold you all night, but I would be hard pressed to not ask this question, man. Being in San Diego, being from Hawaii, the women, man, what they looking like out there, man? Like, my audience may smack me across the face, man, through the fingers, man. If I don't ask, man, what the women looking like in San Diego, Honolulu, Hawaii?
I mean, I think in San Diego especially, you can't complain.
You can't complain. Ah, that's what's up. That's
That's
what's
all I
up.
have to say. Yeah, I
And they
can't
out
complain.
there. So if
Oh
you get
yeah.
out in the world, it might be like women just everywhere.
I mean, San Diego, I would say San Diego's got the prettiest women.
Wow. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's
Uh-huh.
what's up. That's what's up.
Oh
Hey
yeah.
man, so on closing, man, like I said, I don't want to keep you all night, man. I appreciate you getting on. Because like people need to hear this, and like I said, we're gonna wrap after it because like I really need your help with that search engine optimization, man, because that's what's slowing me down. I can't get around the people that know me. But so when you made the move, did you do it alone?
The move as in starting
Like the
my.
move from Hawaii to San Diego, did you do that alone?
I did do it alone.
And
Hmm.
talk to me about the courage it took to do that because where I'm from Tennessee, and
Hmm.
that's the hardest part is leaving the nest. And it sounds like you made a big jump. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me a little bit about that, man, and tell them where they can find you if they wanted to find you, man. Close us
Yeah,
out with
yeah,
that.
that's a good question. So I'd say, especially growing up in Hawaii, I would say probably 80-85% of the people in Hawaii, graduate high school in Hawaii, go to University of Hawaii, stay in Hawaii their whole life, and don't really leave. And I mean, that's just really that's how it goes. Hawaii's beautiful; it's a paradise, and
Yeah, I need to get
a
that,
lot of people
man.
don't really leave. But I would say leaving was probably one of the best things for me, just because it opened up my mind to the rest of the world. So I would say, at first I was kind of like, whoa, and then eventually I was kind of like, this is this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool out there. So
That's what's up.
yeah, I
That's what's up.
think definitely taking the leap and jumping into the unknown is what makes life pretty cool.
That's what's up, man. That's what I wanted to hear because I remember my grandparents raised me, and my mama raised me at first. Then it turned into my grandparents, and it was crazy because my mama, as a kid, and I didn't even understand what she was saying. But she was like, no matter what, you got to leave here to go to school, like college, what she meant. And I was like, I don't really understand what you're saying as a kid. But then I get to my grandparents as I'm growing, they like, you got to leave here to go to school. And every place they sent was out of the city, out of the state, out of the everything. So I wound up leaving to go to school. And what's crazy is I learned how to survive. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't have anybody to help me, anybody to do nothing. And it taught me something that school or nothing can teach me is how to survive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you meet people, you network, you do what you got to do to survive, to get what you need to get where you're trying to go. So that's hard, man. I really appreciate you sharing that, man. I really appreciate you getting on the podcast. And I really appreciate you answering my emails when I email you about asking these questions about taking this podcast to the next level because the whole thing this podcast is about networking and trying and doing it, you know. And me, I feel like I'm really okay behind the mic, but I don't know anything behind the mic, behind the scenes. I don't know how to develop an audience or to get my podcast or my situation to pop up in the search engine. And that's what you do. That's what you
Mm-hmm.
do for a living. So a lot of times where I'm from, people may not want to help each other. Like I got all the gold, you got all the silver, he has all the food. We ain't even gonna talk to each other. I'm rich, he's eating. You see what I'm saying? But we're gonna all do it separate. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was society, especially these past 4 years before this year, that's what was wrong with us. We all trying to separate and keep our goods to ourselves. So like with you being so great at what you do, other people are good at what they do. You know, it's we gotta network and get this thing popping, man. Because all of us ain't. Uh, I can't think of nobody else. I'm just say I don't know who Bob. We all of us ain't Bob Marley. Like all of us ain't just chosen. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, if you want to leave them with something, go ahead, man. We'll close it out.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I guess if anyone wants to check me out, I would say I'm not really that active on Instagram or Facebook, but check me out on LinkedIn. Jeff, Jeff, last name Peroutka. Also got a little blog going at pror.io. That's the website going on. We also do some SEO services. Want to check that out?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm gonna check
yeah,
it out. I need some services. I need some services, man. I need your help,
sweet,
man. I need
sweet.
your help, man. We trying to take 2021, baby. We trying to take this podcast to the next level, man. We trying to
Oh,
get
that's the way to
streams on
go.
streams on streams, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, man, Jeff, man, I appreciate you getting on. I really appreciate it, man. And it's crazy how it happened. And so, like, I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll be back. Yeah.